graphs. So we're going to draw a table of values. It should be S there as well. So S to draw linear graphs on the Cartesian plane. Now, Cartesian plane is simply just this, where you've got these X and Y's and there's like values there. You can draw lines and stuff. Okay, so the success criteria is correctly substitute value to a table of values. That's probably the most important skill. Correctly put table values in Cartesian plane, so we need to look at that, and be aware that linear graphs should be straight. So one of the things that we've got to be aware of, there's no curves in these form of graphs. And look out for a y-intercept. That's for a future lesson. Let's get started. Okay, so we've got a table of values here, okay, and this is the table of values. I'll highlight it. There it is, okay, and we need to fill it out, okay. We need to fill it out, and notice I have put all these values of x in. So I've put x equals -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, and 3 for a really important reason, and I want to find out what y is at all those values. Now, how do I do that? Well, I need to use this, okay? So this is an equation. I call it a machine because it pumps out all these values of y. And I'm just going to rewrite it down here. So it goes y equals 2x. So that's the same thing as down here. Now, what's in between the 2 and the x? The mathematician's too lazy to write. If you said times, you'll be right. So I'm going to go y equals 2. And instead of x, I'm going to put brackets. Okay? And there's a very good reason for that, because I can put that in my calculator and I can just do it. Now, what's the first x value that there is? -3. So I'm going to pop -3 into there, and I get it equal to -6. Okay, so I've got -6 there. Now, I'm going to take the -3 off and put the next value in. So the next value is -2. So I'm going to put -2. So simply I'm just going along the table of values. So I've got -2 there. Can you see that I'm doing -2? And 2 times -2 is -4. So I'm going to put -4 as my answer there. And I'm going to continue doing this. The next number is -1. So just so you see, it's -1 that I'm popping in. So y equals 2 times -1 equals -2. So let me put a bit better there. So it's -2. And by now you should see a pattern. It's actually going up by 2. It's really, really important that we recognize that pattern. There should always be a pattern with these ones, the linear ones. The next number is 0, so I'm going to put 2 times 0. Anything times 0 is just 0. So I'm going to put my answer as 0, and it follows the same pattern. It's still going up by 2. So I can take a stab in the dark and keep writing the values in. So go 2, 4, 6, but let's do the table values. So 2 times the next one's 1. That's 2. Yep, that's right. 2 times, what's the next one? 2. So I'm going to put 2. That's 2 times 2 is 4. So that's right. And next one is 3. So I'll put 3 there. 2 times 3 is 6. Okay. So I'm going to write that a bit nicer because it's a bit ugly. So we have a table of values. And if we look along, it's going up by 2 the whole time. So it's really important that we recognize it. It's not for this occasion, although it might be. That +2 is actually correct because this number is +2. Okay? So this number is +2. That's why that's +2. So that's something to look forward to. All right, now we're going to write this down as a coordinate. Now, here we have, I'm going to take away all the highlighter here. Let's get rid of all the highlighter because we've got a lot of things going on here. And what I'm going to look at, I'm going to reuse my highlighter. We've got an x value at x equals -3, y equals -6. So at x equals -3, so I'm going to crawl to -3 there. Y, which is this, it goes up and down, is negative 6. So I have to climb down to negative 6 and put a point in. So I'm going to do a little cross there. The next one I'm going to do is this one. When x equals negative 4, and with negative 2, y equals negative 4. So I'm going to crawl to negative 2, climb down to negative 4, and there we go there. And I'm going to do the same thing as I did before, a little cross. And I'm going to keep going. When x equals negative 1, y equals negative 2. So I'm going to go negative 1, negative 2, do a little cross there. And then so on. When x equals 2, y equals 0, that's there. When x equals 1, so that's here. Y equals 2, so that's up there. So x equals 1, y equals 2. Next one, when x equals 2, y equals 4, so we're going to go up there. And when x equals 3, y equals 6, so we're there. Now, I can see that I'm correct, and there's a very good reason for, I'm going to rub the highlighter off again. There's a very good reason for that. It's because we're in a straight line, and that's one of the things that we looked at in the success criteria. So we can draw a line there. I draw it in highlighter so you can see everything. You should draw it in like pen. I'll do it in my pen. Let's see if we can draw it there. Yeah. So that's something you should do. I'll take the highlighter off. And what is that line? Well, that's the line y equals 2x. So that belongs to that. Okay? All right, I'm going to do the same with the next one, but notice I'm empty. So I'm just going to fill it in, and I'm going to use the values here. It's really good to start from negative 3. You can start from negative 2, but essentially you can pick any numbers you want. Now I'm going to go a little bit quicker here. I'm going to go y equals 2 times, and I'm going to put brackets, and then plus 1. Okay? So the first value is negative 3, so it's going to, that's that one there. So it's going to be negative 6, 2 times negative 3, plus 1, and that equals negative 5. So I'm going to put minus 5. Now the next value is negative 2. So I'm going to do that. So it's minus 2. Minus 2 times minus 2, negative 4 plus 1 is minus 3. So it's minus 3. And notice here that it's going up by 2. Let's see if this trend continues. And I'm going to go negative 1. So just negative 2 plus 1 is negative 1. So let's go negative 1 in there. Oh, the trend does continue. And it actually does the whole way. So 2 more is going to be 1. 2 more than that is going to be 3. 2 more than that is going to be 5. 2 more than that is going to be 7. So I'm going to take the risk and look at this. Plus 2, plus 2, plus 2, plus 2. Now, I know that I'm correct because this should relate to that number there, and it does. So I'm just going to pop it in. I'm going to fast forward this a little bit. I'm just going to do it really quickly so you can see where I'm going. So at negative 3 equals negative 5, so that's there. At negative 2 equals negative 3. At negative 1 it equals negative 1. At 0 it equals 1, so that's there. At 1 it equals 3. At 2 it equals 5. And at 3 it equals 7, which is up there. Now I'm going to just draw a line, and I've got my line there. What's this line? Well, this line is this equation, so they belong together. Okay, so that's doing a table of values to draw graphs. Okay, now one thing to look at, see this number here, plus 1. What number does it cross at the y-axis? Looks like positive 1. There's no plus 0, there's nothing here. Where does it cross? At 0. Interesting. All right, I want you to do this one. I'm going to do this one really, really quickly. Put music on. hopefully you can get what's going on. Peace out.